Happy Friday, y'all. It's Friday. I don't know about you, but it feels like this week was kind of long. I've had a lot of things going on. I know you're like, Heather, you always have a lot of things going on in your life, but more than usual. And I was just actually literally joking with one of my friends on the phone this morning as I said, you know, I literally feel like it always comes in threes for me. If you know me, given like my health journey and my life and like what created this whole, you know, ambience that you get to see of me online was because of a lot of tragedy that hit my life at one point, right? Between my health conditions where I was very poorly living and I was deemed permanently disabled in 2012. I was told I was never gonna get better. You know, we went through victims of a hate crime. My mom died from gabapentin, so I created a lot of awareness around that. A video actually popped up about that story from last year, and I was looking at it, which I'm gonna share with you about it in a second, and then of course I got divorced all inside of 6 months. I went through a huge lupus flare. My life went through a lot of craziness, and at that time I just felt really, really alone. I don't know if you've ever felt alone. Maybe that's just me. If you've ever felt alone, put alone in the comments. Like, I just didn't think that anybody knew what it felt like to be me, dealing with chronic illnesses, feeling the loss. And it wasn't that people haven't maybe felt those incidences individually, but like all at once like I did. And I kind of hit a place where I really just felt like it wasn't going to get better. And I was like in a place of a mind space that I would hope that no one ever gets to in their life, where they just felt like they were looking for permanent choices, right, for temporary seasons. And the solutions that where I was thinking of was, I was just like, God, I want to come home. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so that created this whole journey for me that I share with people online and throughout my whole life, and creating hope and inspiration. And I've met a lot of amazing human beings in the process. And one of the biggest key things I've learned is that your vibe definitely attracts your tribe. And so why I'm saying that, and I'm curious if you are attracting the people that you want to attract in your life, is because a lot of the times when we're in the middle of a season, maybe we can't see past that. And that's when it's really good to be around people that are yoked the same as you. What does that mean? Like, you may have heard this before, like in like marriages, you want to find someone equally yoked, but you want to be equally on the same page with a lot of people in your life. Now, correction, you don't need to be exactly the same as each other, but you want to be on the same belief system. Because as things come up in your life, because nobody's life is perfect, right? Things are going to happen. I'm a work in progress all the time. You know, I tell you guys, the reason I'm even on like this, like getting ready to go work out at the gym and stuff, is because I want you to see me not just all put together all the time. Like, I'm just sharing my life experiences with you because I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've made some amazing friendships with some human beings that I never would have ever met if it wasn't for social media. And I tell people all the time, God will use whatever he has to use to connect you with the people he needs you to connect with. And in the process of this, I was thinking about it because I've had a lot of people just outpour of love. Where have you ever had friends that, which is funny because I actually was reading, because part of what I need to do for me every day is getting right, not just physically, but getting right mentally every single day. I have to choose that. That's something I have to make time for, because we're all busy, right? If you're busy, put busy in the comments, but I have to make time to make sure that I'm working towards bettering myself and getting myself centered every single day. So I was reading today, and it says feeling at home was the one that I got in my Bible reading as I was doing it, talking about how certain people come and they, you know, take up residence inside you, inside your heart. And the problem is that depending on what your vibe is, right? If you're negative and you're walking around in your life feeling negative, and honestly, I was hopeless back then. I felt very broken. I tell people all the time, I felt like I went to God with all the broken pieces and said, please put it back together, or please take it home, right? Because I didn't want to do this anymore. Because it was like I was super sick, taking all these medications, and I was just trying to exist in life. And if you've ever felt like you've existed, you can put exist in the comments. It's not a fun place to be. So I wanted to share with you guys today because I really felt honored in just the last 48 hours as God has really shown up in my life. Because when I'm going through things in my life, and I mean, I'm not one to like air my dirty laundry out on social media, because I don't have to build up myself by tearing other people down or other situations down, right? I've just really made a point of that, like old me, young me, where I could get like, you know, in the circumstances I'm in right now, for instance, like in a business atmosphere, if like, you know, I made choices because things in my life are no longer aligning with the person I want to be with. Again, the vibe, the people I want to be around. Hi, Lisa. How are you guys? Hi, Jan. Hi, Jeff. That I resigned from my company I was with. And it was like, you know, people could have said, well, why did you do that? I mean, everybody has to work. Sometimes people don't like working the job they work, but it's a job, like they do it. But for me, I don't want to live a life by default where I'm just doing things just to do them. I want to do things because I have purpose in what I'm doing. So when things didn't align, yeah, I walked away. I walked away from an incentive trip. I walked away from a nice check. I walked away from things, I was being rewarded for doing things that God was strategically placing me to do. When that alignment was no longer there, I had to make a hefty decision to go. Now, there's of course now repercussions of that, and I'm getting some backlashing from that, which in that scenario, normally I could get really angry, I could get mad, I could get vengeful, right? Have you ever been that point where somebody's done you wrong and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna take it to the ends of the world before because you feel justified in your behavior. And old me would have done that in a heartbeat, right? Now me, the person I'm trying to evolve into being every day, realizes that I want to give it to God. God's going to handle it. God's going to handle the people who've done you wrong. He's going to handle, the things that he'll place things in your life, just like he placed that opportunity in my life to help change people's lives. He can't control how everyone behaves because everyone has freedom of choice. So when the things started to change, things no longer aligned, what did he do? He wiped it out of the way. Same thing with relationships in your life, that you come together. If you're equally yoked, you're both on the same page, like he sees opportunities in us and sees what he placed in us as human beings that could be very beneficial to other people as we lock up together and we become these people in our lives, whether they're significant others, whether they're best friends, whether they're coworkers, whether, whoever it is in our life, in our circle that he brings to us, because he realizes these could be people that help other people grow, and this weakness over here can help strengthen this one, and etc., right? That we are the yin to the yangs of each other. But the problem is if our vibe, right, isn't aligning with where it needs to be, we're like magnets, right? We're gonna start attracting what we're reflecting, right? If you agree we're magnets, put magnets. So what ends up happening is that in my case, if I'm walking around feeling like my life is hopeless, that there's no chance for things to change, and I'm in that mindset, I'm gonna start to notice there's more people in that mindset with me. And then the next thing we know, we're all down together. Like those, I used to tell people, lupus support groups, loved them. It was great to know that you didn't feel alone. But what happens when a bunch of like-minded people get together and start talking about how much their life sucks now? They start to accept that. And they don't start to look for other options to make their lives better, right? So I believe those groups are great, but I also believe that they're a stepping stone in your process of trying to work through your health journey, right? No, you're not alone. It's great to be around like-minded, but make sure that those like-minded people that you're vibing with are next level. They want to go to the next level with you. They want to be open-minded and think about how ways to change their way of life, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's financially, whether it's spiritually, that they want to be moving forward. And so for me, I want to be around people who are yoked to the same, right? The same belief system, that when I'm not in the room, they still want to strive to go and be with a life with God, right? They want to, that's something they choose to do. No matter how busy their life is, they want to do things to better themselves. I'm going to go to the gym, not because somebody wants me to go to the gym or they want me to look better for them or I want to look better for them versus them wanting me to or I'm wanting to. No, I'm wanting to do it for myself. I want to be healthier. I want to be healthier physically, mentally, financially, emotionally, spiritually, all of the above. If you agree, right, give me some of those hands up in the air in the comments, because I want to be a better person every single day. And so when I was reading through this, and when you start to get in that vibe where you start to reflect and that magnet starts pulling, God comes and brings his super to your natural, and it becomes like an exponential pull. And now all of a sudden, you start to notice that these people that can be anywhere in the world doing their life are gonna feel you at some point when you're feeling like something's struggling in your spirit or something's happening with you, or maybe that God's forging you and it's kind of painful and maybe you don't even want to reach out about it, or you're just trying to like focus through it and you're bringing out your toolbox and you're trying to handle it yourself, but he knows because you came to him and said, I need some help. I need you to, pick me up, lift me up. I need you to send help, SOS, right? If you've ever done some SOSing, put SOS in the comment. And all of a sudden you get a phone call from someone that you have not talked to for a while, and a best friend reaches out to you and says, you okay? And I'm like, why are you calling me, right? And they're like, just want to make sure you're okay. And it's like getting a bat signal, because you're like, well, it's funny that you're calling because I do have a lot on my mind right now, and I've been praying, I've been deep in prayer, I've been looking for guidance, and somebody shares a piece of what you've done in their life that makes you realize that what you're doing, it's not about ego stroking, it's about what you're doing, what you're continuing the path on, as you better yourself, as you're allowing yourself to allow God to have these divine interventions and these divine appointments that he's using you for, is that you will start to notice the phone rings or a message comes through, or somebody's reaching out to you because almost like a calling card, he puts a little something on their spirit to call you. And it was funny because another friend reached out to me. I'm like, what is happening here? Why are all these friends all of a sudden that I haven't talked to in a while just reaching out? And one of them reached out and she sent me a reel, and it really resonated with my soul because it was talking about how sometimes God puts us through things, right? Allows some struggle in our life, some situations to happen, so that not to test us, but to test those people around us, okay? Let that settle in for a second. If that like resonates with you, put resonates in the comment. Like, I get that. Like, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. It's a perspective shift and change, is that when we're sitting there going, gosh, why am I going through this? Like, I'm doing my stuff and I'm trying to align and I'm working hard. And I've already told you, I just talked about this even yesterday, is that when you're working hard on yourself, I'm sorry, but the enemy attacks are going to come harder because he wants to distract us and get us off course and dwell in that space of like little gaps in our minds and our hearts that start to create self-doubt, because he wants to pick apart those so that we're not focused, so that we're not working on ourselves, so that we're not aligning ourselves with other like-minded human beings, our vibe, right? Our tribe, all of us bringing together, locking arms and lifting up in such a time of darkness all around the world, right? So many people, people have become so hardened. They don't care about other people. They don't care if it doesn't benefit them. They don't want to do anything for them, right? Some people say, I've had people mock me and say, you're silly. Why do you get on there and talk about your life and share your stuff? You're not perfect. Why do you do this? And I realize that's their issues. That's them. That's their negativity. That is their vibe. And I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, I'm like blocking it up with a blocker saying, no, thank you. Not today, Satan. I don't want that vibe. I don't want that magnetic pull coming towards me. Because you know what? If that's not your cup of tea, that's not your cup of tea, right? But for me, I want to be constantly growing my mindset, aligning, realigning. I'm not perfect. My niece just popped on here. She could tell you, my aunt's savage. Like, she gets crazy. People test my inner gangster. I can't get that way. But I can honestly say with a full righteous heart, I'm still not that person I used to be back in the day. Like, when things would happen to me or I felt like I was wronged, right? Have you ever felt wronged? Put wronged in the comments. I know it's probably just me, but I feel like something's happened, maybe a relationship that like I was expecting a lot more out of didn't end up being what it was, right? Maybe some lack of responsibility took place and people that just weren't yoked the same. They weren't ready to like take responsibility for their life and start living a life of purpose, right? Maybe it was easy back in the day to be like, you know what? And then you get into that like, what did you do for me lately? And this lashing and you're angry and, and sometimes it's even friendships. Like you feel like you're not on the same page anymore. And so it gives you the righteousness to be like mean and angry. But if you're addressing it and you're having the maturity to come to them and say, hey, I love you. I want to figure out like how to make this work. Because friendships, just like relationships, they have ups and downs too, right? And the thing is it's about choosing people every single day. And when you choose people, I hope that whatever your vibe is, it's attracting people to your tribe, that people that you want to actually choose, right? And I don't ever try to be perfect. My daughter just popped in here. She'll tell you, Mom's not as perfect as she always makes it sound like she's on there. She'll be the first to say that because I wasn't. And I'm still not. It's a journey that we choose every single day. And that's why I take the time for prayer and meditation and self-development, even when nobody's watching, because I want to be a different human being in this world. I want to be examples for my kids to see that their mom wasn't always perfect. And I'm still not perfect, but at least I'm trying to move into a place of where I can be proud of who I reflected for them. That they see this strong individual in their life that went through like punch after punch and situations that could have hardened me, things that could have changed my heart. I joke around, there was a meme somebody shared with me. It says, I have a big heart, but I'm kind of mean. Like that can be me at times. Like sometimes I don't sugarcoat things. I'm very direct. And that's not everybody's like place. Some people like to just be in that happy la la land and pretend. And I tell people all the time, I don't do fake butter and I don't do fake friends, okay? I don't got time for that. I'm too old for that. Like I know, like if you love me and I love you, like I'm gonna tell you when you're acting like a fool. And the thing is even with my own children, like I love my babies. Oh my gosh, I love my babies. If you ever cross my babies, then that's where I'm gonna have to work on that savage side. But even when I'm talking with them and they're sharing with me like concerns they have in their lives, or they're trying to like figure out the roads, and they're adult kids with some of them. And of course, my young Jacob, still, molding him, is that I try to lead it by example, by not just words I talk, but by actions I do, right? That showing them that, that don't carry vengeance on your heart, even though it's really easy because somebody maybe did something to you, right? Try to always be the better person. I hear my pastor talk about it all the time. And he's like, the reason why marriages and relationships fall apart is that instead of working on ourselves, we're so busy trying to change the other person. And that's why I've told people being yoked the same is important, because I want to work on me. I want to be the best person I can be so I can be the best mom to my kids, so I can be the best friend to my friends, which I feel honored because so many people reached out to me in the last 48 hours. I know who my tribe is. They can be wherever they're doing their life at. They could be in their own slump, but it's an internal bat signal that they see, and they're like, reach out to my friend. And I have it too. I feel it in my spirit sometimes. I'll be doing something and I just stop. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? And it's like, you can see it in the sky, like, uh-oh, I need to call somebody because something is going on. And some of us just brush it off like, oh, we're too busy. I got kids, I got life, I got work, I got to do my thing. That we're not listening to that blinking signal telling us that we need to reach out. And so I am honored that I had some people reach out to me today, that my friend shared that link with me, talking about, that sometimes God's testing, not necessarily just us, but those around us, because when that happens, things are great in great times. When things are struggling, when people really have to decide if they're going to pull up their big girl panties and like really get down to business and really have some hard conversations that maybe we don't want to have, or face some things in maybe our businesses that we don't want to do, that's when you're going to see people's true characters, right? And I'm honored because during this season where it comes in threes, right? I changed my home, I changed my relationship status, I changed my business. I mean, like everything was changing again. Is that I wanted to stay my true character now. And I got to see who everyone else's character was around me by the way that they interacted with me. And it made me think, okay, yes, this is a maturity level that I've hit, that I'm honored to be at, that I'm going to constantly keep working at, because old me back in the day would have lost days, would have slumped into a pity party. I mean, I'm probably the only one who's ever had a pity party. Have you ever had a pity party? Put pity party in the comments. Were you feeling bad for yourself and like, why did this happen to me? And why did God let this happen to me? Like all the things that we go through. And so today, as I go through and I recenter myself back to who I am, despite what all the noise is going on around me, I wanted to share with you guys, because this might be something that speaks to one of your hearts. And this might be something that I, as your friend, need to have an unsugar-coated conversation with you about and say, hey, if you're feeling like you're struggling in a moment, turn it around to God. Give it to him. If you don't believe in him, just try it anyways and see what happens. I mean, what do you have to lose, right? Give it to him. Ask for help. He likes vulnerability. I don't like doing vulnerability, but he likes vulnerability, right? If you don't do vulnerability well, put vulnerability in the comments. Yeah, I don't like that, right? Second of all, what are you doing to better yourself? No, don't tell me about what he did, she did, they did, everybody did. And when they start doing what they're doing, then you're going to start working on you. Think about what you're doing when you look in the mirror. Are you the image that you want to be? Do you behave no matter what's happening around you in the way that you want to behave, even when nobody's looking, right? And then third of all, if you're not, instead of getting defensive and making excuses and feeling bad about it, right? Start today. Start right now. Start in this moment. Figure out what it is that you're going to do and start implementing in your life to break those patterns, those generational curses, those things that your mama and your daddy and your sisters and your cousins, everybody did that made you do that, or that person who did this to you, or this business who did that to you, that made you feel that way, that created this, that is now creating this vibe that's attracting people that you don't want in your life. Because when you are stressed, because it's going to happen, there's going to be shiznit that hits your roof, and you're going to have to talk to somebody about it to vent it out naturally and healthy, not gossiping, but factual, maybe some true words coming out, just like, and maybe sometimes just dropping some F-bombs. If that's you, put the F-bomb in the comments, because you just need to like let it out, right? You want to make sure those words are falling on people's ears that have your best interest in mind. Because there's a lot of individuals out there who can, whether they mean to do it consciously or unconsciously, they'll take moments of your vulnerability and they'll use it against you, right? I told you so. Oh yeah, doesn't your life suck? You're not as perfect as you thought you were. B, they will want you to slump to their level because it makes them feel normal. So if they don't want to try it in life, they're going to say, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Don't try about that. Just let it go. Don't try, right? C, they're going to fire that fuel. And if you have a negative thought in your mind that's going around, they're going to add the fuel to that fire. They're not going to stop in there. Me, I walk in there, I'll pluck that out and toss it away and be like, girl, that ain't you. Or if my friend, that ain't you. Like, no, not today, Satan. Get out of here, right? I'm not going to add soil and nutrients to that thought that I know isn't you, because you're having a vulnerable moment and shiznits happen to you and you're just trying to pull out of it. I'm going to reach down in there and I'm going to pull you out. If you're coming through the fire, I'm going to hand you a bucket of water and say, we got you. Like, we can get angry together. I'll vent with you, but what are we going to do to move forward to change this? And, I know that my personality is strong. I know it's not for the weak at heart, because I am very blunt. I am very to the point. I just, if I see something and it's not that I'm judging you, it's because I love you. I might be like, whoa, you're acting kind of foolish right now. You know, you do see that, right? Am I the only one who sees this? But then I also have people in my life that can say the same, like, why are you acting so snappy? Why are you getting crazy? And when I do see that, then I want to go through my whole reflection point and go, okay, why am I acting this way? Now, I can easily say, well, I'm acting this way because that person did something to me and that's why I'm acting that way. No, that person did something that provoked something in me, but now why am I continuing to act that way? And if I'm acting that way, then I need to remove whatever the source is in my life that creates that inside me. You know, and it's funny because I'm going to leave it with this is, even with like my ex, we were talking about it when we were at dinner the other night with my son, which I thought was a really weird topic at my son's birthday. I don't want to talk about it, but it was a really good example for my son to see his parents communicating, because he did see a marriage fall apart, how bad it got at the end, how we became people we didn't like to be. And even my ex is like, I made her, I mean, she's the most sweet, she's a genuinely sweet-hearted person and she's a great person, but I brought some of the evil out in her, because when you feel in the moment like you're like, oh, right? And which is great because we can laugh now in hindsight 2020, right? That we had a lot of growing up to do. And, you know, and now that we're at that point, being able to have my son see that we learn from the lessons, right? Don't keep repeating the bad stuff, right? I could sit around holding grudges for everything, but instead, I want to know how the circumstances of my life are going to help benefit other people. I'm going to learn my lessons. I'm going to keep trying to learn them if I keep falling down, because I am human, and maybe you're human. If you are, put human in the comments. And I'm going to do my best to try to keep being the best person I possibly can, because what's going to happen is I'm going to start to notice that when I look around, my vibe is going to be like-minded people. Not exactly the same, but like-minded people. People who want to go further in life, who are going to wipe away my tears, who are going to give me the energy, who are going to straighten my crown, who's not going to take that time to, like, you know, get the upper hand on me when this is happening. They're going to remind me who I am. Even if I know who I am, they're just going to make sure that they lift me up even more in prayer and understanding and grace, and understand that, yeah, we all get a little crazy sometimes, but how are we going to bounce back from it? And so with that being said, I hope that was helpful for you guys. I don't know, like I said, I was reading this morning. I try to have like a miracle morning set up. Every morning I start with prayer first thing in the morning. I try to get some reading in. I try to get some self-development in. Sometimes I just get caught up in my work and what I'm doing. And, you know, and that's why I want the people, like even in my business, like I'm excited that I'm doing this. And just to give you an idea, God, when he takes stuff out of your life, he will put something in it better. And that's even with like the business aspect. He wiped it out and people are like, oh, you gave up the trip. Guess what? I qualified for another one. And it was like, not just because I'm, oh, lucky Heather, it's because I'm doing the work. And I'm willing to help other people have those opportunities in their life. And when you're giving more than you're taking, you'll start to notice that God exponentially makes sure that that growth is reciprocated back to you. So anyways, guys, God bless. If it spoke to you, drop a heart emoji in the comments. And if not, that's cool. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I'll talk to you guys all soon. See ya.